Talk about it right now with Yasser Tabbara, the spokesman for the Syrian coalition. Now, mind you, the National Coalition for Syrian Revolutionary and Opposition Forces is planning to open an office close to the United Nations. Mr. Tabbara, thank you for being with us. What do you plan to do?
We actually opened that office in New York a few months ago, and we have an office here after the United States officially recognized the coalition as a legitimate representative of the Syrian people back in December. Since then, we've been working tirelessly to basically provide as much information to the international community in New York and to the American public through Congress and other means about who are the opposition, what are they comprised of, and what's the Syrian National Coalition about.
Well, we'll answer the very question you pose, if you will. Who are they?
Well, one of the very, very few good side years is that the opposition basically was able to coalesce around itself, was able to invest in building institutions and some of its infrastructure. And now we have a coalition that brings together the overwhelming majority of the opposition forces, both inside and outside Syria, militarized and political. And so we now stand, especially in the past few months, with a free Syria, 100,000 soldiers plus strong on the ground, belonging to a moderate institution that basically comprise boots on the ground. Everybody's talking about this whole issue of boots on the ground. We never asked for boots on the ground because we already have them. So you have this institution called the Free Syria Army that submits to the coalition, submits to the political will.
Let me ask you this. Bashar al-Assad says, look, most of these guys out there are terrorists, Islamic fundamentalists, dominated in large part by al-Qaeda. And, of course, much has been said about that here in the United States. Is there anything to that?
Of course, Bashar al-Assad is going to make that argument. I mean, his criminal regime is going to basically make any argument under the sun in order for him to justify the mass murder that he has been engaged in over the past 2.5 years. The extremists on the ground in Syria are problematic, of course, are a reality, but they are much, much more exaggerated reality than they actually are. Some of the estimates, actually, according to our estimates with the Free Syria Army and according to the head of the Free Syria Army, General Salim Idris, they are a few thousand compared to, again, 100,000+ soldiers of the Free Syria Army.
When you say a few thousand, like, what is that? Is that like 1,000, 2,000, 20,000? What is that?
No, actually, the estimates by General Salim Idris ranges between 3,000 to 5,000 fighters, and that comprises 3 to 5% of the lower estimates, the lower end of the estimates of the Free Syria Army soldiers. The problem
Have they
is
infiltrated the Free Syrian soldiers?
Look, again, one of the few positive side effects for the past couple of years is our ability to be able to contain as much of them, and if that's not working, then isolate as much of them as possible. I can tell you that there are a number of incidents where basically the social fabric of some of the liberated areas have completely rejected these extremists. There are actually reported incidents of battles between battalions of the Free Syria Army and some of these extremists. I think the problem with describing these extremists and exaggerating their presence is that we fail to differentiate between fighters that just happen to have a beard and pray 5 times a day and basically espouse the religion and practice it, but want an end game that is basically a civil democratic Syria moving forward after the Assad regime, and then these very few yet very problematic extremists on the ground that basically want a completely end game, that want basically a sort of a grandiose, delusional vision of some sort of an empire.
Because I'm down to my last question. I got to go to our correspondent in Washington. But if the United States does take military action, what do you want it to look like?
Well, we've been asking for military action for a very long time now. Bashar al-Assad has been using Scud missiles and Air Force, in addition to chemical weapons, over 2 liberated areas, preventing us from basically filling in the vacuum and taking a lot of these liberated areas from the extremists and basically providing the governing services that are needed. And so what we ask for is any strike actually would send a very serious signal to Bashar al-Assad and his regime that...
Or it might incite him to do more. I mean, there's always that risk.
We believe that inaction will definitely incite him to do more. Any form of action will basically give us a better chance at a fair fight. What we're asking for is a fair fight. We have our own boots on the ground. We have our own institutions. They're secular, they're moderate, and they're willing and ready to work with the West and the United States.
Would you optimally, you'd love for the United States to take out a big chunk of Assad's air power, his air force, his delivery systems, his missile systems, his artillery, right?
Absolutely, but again, we are behind the President's resolution to ask for the use of force, because we still believe that that is something that will definitely change things on the ground and will shift the balance of power towards the more moderate forces
Yasser
on the ground.
Tabbara, spokesman for the Syrian coalition, good luck to you, sir, and thank you for taking the time to explain it to us. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.